Yo, it's your boy Norbs, and I'm here with an update. It's your boy. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, hit the notification button. We out here, we talking boxing this morning. Shout out to everyone. But apparently, a fight that a lot of people have been asking about, or some people, I wouldn't say it's a major ask. I don't think everybody's asking for it. Tank Davis and Shakur Stevenson has been rumored, not confirmed, rumored to be going down November 23rd. Um, Originally, it was supposed to be Lomachenko, apparently November 23rd, and that fell out. Lomachenko basically stating that he would step aside for Shakur, then also came out and said that, you know, he's not mentally there at this point. So that fight did not go down. But apparently, I'm gonna show this real quick. Let me see if I can get a side by side of this, a better angle. Yeah, here we go. So Calvin Ford confirms that an offer will be sent to Shakur Stevenson to fight Tank Davis. We going to send you a contract with the money. That's how they wrote it. If they take it, they take it. It is what it is. We just seen what happened just now when Loma didn't take the fight. Shakur is one of the last of the big four. To tell you the truth. Him not him, what up? What's my take on this situation? If you take it, you take it. I mean, listen, guys. Let's be honest. There's a lot of questions that have to be answered in the Shakur Stevenson situation, and one of those questions happens to be who's going to be promoting him, who's he signing to. These are all questions that have not been answered. Also, at the same time, I don't believe he's going to take anything without having one of those situations in place. And at the end of the day, I don't know who's advising him, but he's speaking on what he would take, what he's willing to go for. I don't know. I mean, I think people need to stop jumping and jumping the gun, or even slow your horses. You know what I'm saying? This is coming from the same person, Calvin Ford, who said this isn't even the biggest fight for Tank at this point. So to me, I feel like it's a lot of cap right now. Until I see Shakur sign or get a situation, or I don't know what it is. I don't believe that this is locked in. Now, I would like to see this fight, but coming off two subpar performances from Shakur Stevenson, I don't see this generating what they want at this point. Now, is Shakur desperate enough to take this fight to really to put himself in position or in that limelight to be the first person to defeat Gervonta Davis? I believe that is a possibility, but at the same time, business and business. And we've seen him turn down Devin Haney's offer when they fought, when he could have took his spot. But again, Devin Haney is not Gervonta Davis. So do we believe this at this point? Do we want to see this fight in November? I think people do want to see this. I don't think it's as big as they would like it to have been because of the performances of Shakur Stevenson. So I don't necessarily believe that. And then another thing is this: we still got the fight that's coming up this weekend with Pitbull, right? And let's put this all into play right now. If Pitbull looks impressive this week, he's looked very impressive over his last few fights. It would not be more appealing to see a Pitbull rematch than a Shakur Stevenson. I think that's a question you have to pose in this situation. Is that a more appealing fight for a Tank Davis fight? Because again, this man is coming off some very suspect performances over the last two. Now, and a lot of people have this thing in their head that Shakur is going to run and it's not going to be a good fight. Even Tank Davis just came out and said these same things. So to me, I think people need to not jump the gun in this situation simply because we don't really know if if this is actually an actual thing. We've heard rumors before about fights happening. How many times? And again, like my buddy Joe just told me over the phone, how many times did we see Errol Spence and Bud Crawford booked before it actually got booked? And these are two guys that were winning, and people really wanted to see this fight. Like, this was a way more anticipated fight than a Shakur versus Gervonta. And that's just the fact. So, I mean, listen, I say take it with a grain of salt. Is Calvin Ford being serious? Uh, is there a lot of money behind this fight at this point? I think more. Listen, especially when you're hearing rumors that Gervonta is asking for upwards of $40 million when he was in a fight, uh, Lomachenko. Now again, this is all hearsay. We don't know if that's actually true. If Gervonta asked for a guaranteed $40 million, but if he's looking for upwards of that money, is Shakur Stevenson the individual that's going to be able to get that fight, to get that type of bag? And again, what promotional company is going to put up that money? Because we all know that it's not going to be Tank Davis putting up that money. So somebody has to step in. Whatever promotional company it's going to be, whether it's Matchbox with Eddie Hearn or Gold, I don't know, or the Sheik, who knows? But at the end of the day, there's a lot of questions that are unanswered, and the longer this process goes, the less chance is going to be for November. So, I mean, I think there's a lot of, I see people going off in the chats, yo, it's going down, I can't wait, da, da, da. And I'm like, bro, there's a lot of things that need to be answered before we even get this fight. I don't necessarily believe that this actually is going to happen at this point. And again, there's a lot of variables that play into the situation. We still got to get into negotiations. Yeah, they could send him an offer, but who's going to pay Gervonta what he wants? Or does he have that on the table? Because this is what it is. I mean, you could send an offer, but who's going to pay the money? So, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, in regards to it happening, I'm not 100% sure. Now, in regards to what I believe, if this fight were to happen, the outcome is up in the air. I mean, I like Shakur Stevenson. I mean, prior to these last couple fights, I feel like he has the intangibles to defeat somebody like him. At this point, most people don't believe that Tank, actually not Tank, but Shakur has the intangibles to beat Tank. They feel like Tank looks invincible right now off his fight with Frank Martin, I guess. You know what I mean? Frank couldn't do anything to slow him down. Will Shakur be able to slow him down? Shakur's athletic enough to get out of there. But again, I think this fight may not be the right time to make it happen right now, to be honest with you. But again, I've heard Teofimo say that he would fight Tank. I think that would be something I'd like to see. But is Tank willing to take that fight? Or are they going to fight at a catch rate? Or does Teofimo go down? I think that's more of an exciting fight to me right now, personally. But he also did mention the last of the big four. Okay. So who's the big four? Who's the big four he's referring to? I think that's another question. You got Devin Haney, who just fell to Ryan Garcia. I'm assuming they were talking about Ryan Garcia was the other big four. So you got Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson, Teofimo Lopez. Because when you say the last, that means you ran through the big four, which doesn't make any sense. So you beat Ryan Garcia, Devin just lost, Teofimo's available, and then you have Shakur Stevenson. So 3 out of those 4 he hasn't fought. So, I mean, I'd like to see, who's Calvin's 4? I mean, I think that's it. But if those were to be the people that are in the 4, then we still could have a Teofimo fight or even possibly a Devin Haney fight. So are these actually options? I think the key word is the last of the big 4. Is that his big 4 at 135 to 140? So, these are definitely questions that we need answered, and we're going to see what this offer is like. And again, people don't take the first offer. Shakur is not going to take the first offer. And again, there's a lot of things on the table that are not being answered, that haven't been answered actually, in regards to where this fight may take place or who's going to fund it, or we're going to see what happens. So I'm not jumping out of my seat until there is an announcement, but I definitely would like to see this fight. I know a lot of people do want to see it. Now, will it trend? Will it be as big as they'd like? Probably not. Will Tank be able to get the pay-per-view sales? probably a little higher than his last joint, probably. But we're all, there's a lot that needs to be um, handled before this fight were to be announced. But what do you guys think of this fight? Do you guys think it's going to go down November? I know a lot of people love Tank. Is this a real possibility? I don't know. I don't know. I do not know at this point, but I'm definitely looking forward to it. Um, hold on a second. I mean, a lot of people don't believe in it, that Shakur got it right now to beat him. I mean, listen, if I can put on a few people, that's what they're gonna tell you. Shakur will definitely be an overwhelming underdog. But again, this is the fight that he's been clamoring for, and for good reason, man. He wins this fight at 135 pounds. He kind of, he does. He makes history. So he's definitely clamoring for that spot. He's trying to position himself to be a pay-per-view star, and this is the road to take it. So it might be a situation where he's like, you know what, I'll take whatever I'm offered, and that's maybe what Calvin Ford is looking at. Like, look, we could get this guy for cheap. We can get him out of there. He's going to take it. He just wants the opportunity. Whatever. Mr. West says, is this true? This is what's being reported. I just seen a bunch of other podcasts actually speaking on it as if it actually is locked in, but I don't believe it's locked in at all. I don't even think it's close to being locked in. That's just a fact. People apparently they're shooting for November 23rd. So let's just say November 23rd. It's about to be August. We got August, September, October. So let's say by the middle of August, if this is not booked, so let's say August 23rd, September 23rd, October 23rd, November 23rd. If it's not locked in, I'll say by August 23rd, then I believe that it will get this fight won't go down in November. It'll go down early next year, just simply because I believe, and this is just my opinion, I could be wrong, that it takes about 3 months to lock in a situation. Like, to be honest, like for instance, I mean, the Canelo fight just got announced, right? But Canelo was in the gym. This has been in talks for a while, so he got about 2.5 months. Probably doesn't need 2.5 months, but who knows? Kenneth Wright states Shakur is not built for Tank onslaught, in my opinion. I'm gonna answer that. There is no real onslaught. I think Tank kind of waits, and then puts a little pressure and then puts the traps. He's not really that active. It's not really necessarily onslaught. It's more of accuracy and setting the trap and landing that big shot that he feels needs to win the fight. Can he take that approach with somebody like Shakur Stevenson? I don't know, because it's going to be very difficult to find Shakur Stevenson in that fight. So if you're going to sit on that one punch may never come. And that is the problem of fighting Shakur Stevenson. Are you going to fight the same way that you fought Frank, that you fought these guys, where you were giving away rounds? And I think that's where the problem is going to be, because he's going to have a hard time finding Shakur. And that's just being honest. My man Hype Man in the building. Salute. Yeah, I mean, guys, listen. People keep thinking, they keep playing this whole, hey, Gervonta's going to, he's going to wait. Listen, that can work against fighters like a Rolly Romero, Frank Martin, but Shakur is a class above those guys. If you're going to sit there and not be active and wait on that big shot may never come. And I think that's something that is going to be a point of concern for the tank camp. And if Calvin Ford believes that they can fight in that manner, that's going to be a problem. And on the flip side of it, can Shakur show that he can sting or even be active enough to frustrate Tank Davis? Can he land a big shot? Can he push him back? Can he be that guy to really pepper him up and win this fight? So, listen, Shakur doesn't get caught like that. Shakur's a far superior boxer or athletic or defensive guy than a Frank Martin. So that style to me doesn't bode well for Tank Davis. I believe if this fight were to happen, Tank would definitely have to be a lot more active between the early rounds. This whole thing of waiting a couple rounds in order to land that shot to win the fight against somebody like Shakur is a high risk. So is he going to be willing to engage more? Mr. West says he doesn't have man strength. Uh, Listen, guys. Again, again. I don't believe Shakur doesn't have power or doesn't. He's not a knockout artist, absolutely, but I feel like he does have enough to keep people off him. It just is what it is. If you don't believe that, it is what it is. But I do believe that he does. Now, again, power has to land, and fighting a guy like Shakur Stevenson, it is very hard to land that one shot. And if Tank Davis doesn't throw multiple combinations, if he's not aggressive, I think this could be a fight that doesn't behoove. It doesn't. It doesn't go in his favor. Sensei said this is fake news. Tank hasn't even sent the contract. He's in the Olympics and is contemplating the contract. Period. 100% Sensei. This is what Calvin Ford said. We didn't say Tank said it. That's why I just stated that. I don't know if this is actually true. If it'll go down. There's a lot of variables at this point that would confuse the situation. Like Shakur doesn't even have a promoter. They don't even have a home for this fight. Who's actually going to pay for this? So Calvin Ford can say whatever he wants at this point, but there are a lot of different variables, Sensei, that are true. That you're saying that can hold up this fight. Frank did tag him a couple times. Frank hit him, but Frank is not Shakur. You know, Shakur can get in and out pretty fast. He's long. He's a big guy. You know, he's not a huge guy, but he's active enough to get out. But again, guys, I'm not saying this fight is confirmed. This is what a lot of people are talking about on the internet, acting like it is confirmed, but in reality, it is not confirmed, and there are many variables as to why this fight may not happen in November, and that's just being frank about the situation. So I'm not saying that this is a confirmed bout. This is about that a lot of people do want to see. And another variable is that Shakur's stock isn't up right now. He hasn't come off a big win. So financially, is this fight even worth making happen at this point for what Tank is probably going to want to fight somebody of Shakur's level? So these are all variables that are going to play into the situation. Sensei has a question. He says, I do have a question. With this being a unification bout, could Tank be justified by offering a 7-day-30 offer? Sensei, I'll be honest with you. I don't see this being any less than a 70-30 offer. To be honest with you, I feel like Shakur's stock isn't up like that. Tank's stock is up like that. And it's not going to be nowhere near 50-50 or even 60-40 at this point. I think Shakur understands the opportunity, and I think he understands the where he is. But if his ego gets in the way, that's a possibility. I think when the fight didn't happen with and I think it was 70-30 as well, when it was Devin Haney, he felt like they were on the same level. He knows he's not on the same level as Tank Davis. So that kind of bodes well for Tank. And I think Shakur is looking at this as if he wins this fight, he's on another level. He's on there. He's that guy right now. He's the first to beat Tank. And I think the stock rise will be worth more than just taking a check. Now, I don't think he's going to fight for free. I definitely think he's willing to take lesser of a number in order to get the opportunity to be the first to knock down, to give Tank Davis his first Hype man, Tank takes punches here and there so he can land a knockout punch. Santa Cruz fight. Santa Cruz, again, is a fighter that moves straight forward. He's not Shakur Stevenson. He also came up from 126 to fight Tank. But Tank was the bigger guy. This is a completely different animal in Shakur Stevenson. Shakur Stevenson doesn't fight going forward. He's not a one-trick pony. He's able to get in and get out a lot quicker. It's going to be more. This is going to be more of a difficult challenge in order for Tank to land that shot. That's what I'm saying. He has to be more active in this Shakur fight simply because you can't be giving up rounds to Shakur. Shakur is going to win rounds that are going to be boring. He's willing to make this fight as boring as possible, just landing jabs, getting out, landing shots, tying him up. So Shakur in this fight is going to do everything in his power to just steal rounds and avoid getting hit with the big shot. And that's what he does really well. And he's going to do it like no other. So, again, he's not Frank Martin. Guys Guys think every fight is made equally, and that's what I think is a problem. Sensei says that was a manager problem with Devin negotiation. Jay Prince should have told Shakur that he doesn't have a belt and isn't even number one contender anything more. No, I think it was more of a pride thing. He said he's not taking that type of money from Devin. Now, this situation is completely different at this point. This is the situation where the money, the opportunity probably outweighs the money at this point. The opportunity for Shakur to be the number one fighter at 135 and be the first to beat Tank Davis is it might outweigh the financials at this point, because simply down the line he would make more, similar to what Dave Benavidez was trying to do with Canelo. Oh, I'll take whatever I'm gonna get. I'll take $2 million. I'll take $1 million to fight Canelo, because if I beat Canelo, I will be the king of 168 and be able to benefit off of it afterwards. So I think this is one of those opportunities, and that's why it's different than the Devin situation, because I believe he believed him and Devin were equals. In fact, he might have believed that he's the bigger fighter than Devin at the time. And that's just being honest. In this situation, there is a clear-cut, more popular fighter, and everybody knows it. Even he knows it, that Tank is a legit superstar. So to be able to dethrone Tank Davis would probably be worth more than whatever he's going to get paid for future bouts. If he takes him, he can then say, hey, you know what? I could unify at 135. Let's say he beats him and it's a close decision. You got a rematch in there. You got a possibility to make more money, maybe a trilogy. If it's a good fight, who knows? I mean, definitely a rematch is in play. Then you could just, go to 140, fight a Tiafimo fight. So I think he puts himself, he looks at it as an opportunity to put himself in position as the man, similar to what Floyd Mayweather was able to do. Now, again, does that translate to people tuning into him because he beats him? I don't know, because a lot of people are down on him because he has been relatively boring. So, I listen again, guys. This is not a confirmation. I'm not saying he's going down. This is just an article that I've seen on one of my favorite Instagram channels, and I decided to put it out there and talk about it. I'm definitely taking more questions in the chat, but yeah. So, I mean, that's what I think. That's what I think is going to happen now. The likeliness of this happening in November, Tank looks like he's definitely trying to get a fight for November. But again, it bodes well for Shakur to get this done sooner than later, because if Pitbull has an amazing performance against Rayo on Saturday, who's to say that maybe that's not the bigger fight for Tank? Hey, you know what? Pitbull is exciting. He just came off an amazing knockout of Oli Romero. Let's say he goes out and knocks out Rayo. Let's say Rayo knocks out him. What's a more attractive option moving forward? Is it Shakur or is it him? Especially when you're looking to make more money. I think if Pitbull puts himself in position and maybe knocks out Rayo or wins emphatically, I think that may be the fight for November, simply because more people are going to want to be tuned in to a more exciting and engaging fight. And we all know Pitbull is not going to sit around and dance around. So, Calvin Ford could be saying what he's saying, whatever. But if Pitbull were to have a performance, and he's flirted with the idea of a Pitbull versus Tank Part 2 already, I think that may it might hurt the fight for Shakur if this man has a really good performance this weekend coming up in LA, which is a very dope card. So there's a lot of implications with what transpires this weekend for the future of boxing, and that's just the truth at this point. So I mean, there's a lot of implications. Even Bud Crawford, if Bud Crawford is successful this Saturday at 154 at his debut, it opens the door for a Canelo fight. Canelo can't walk away from this fight and say, well, this guy's the smaller guy, I won't get any credit. Well, that would have been true if he'd have came up for 147, but he's now successful at 154, and you just fought Charlo 2-3 fights ago at 154. So it's going to be tough to duck that, but whatever. Sensei says Pitbull is an easier opponent and a safe route for Tank. That's why Cal and Tank's team want this fight and not Shakur. to say it's an easier opponent and a safer route for Tank, I want to agree with you, Sensei. I do. I still think he beats Pitbull, but Pitbull be on your ass. So, and he seems to have gotten better from when they even fought. He has a good chin, doesn't get hit a lot, smothers a lot of punches, and is very aggressive. Some may say it might be more of a dangerous fight because Pitbull possesses more power and aggression than Shakur Stevenson. But again, on the flip side, Shakur doesn't get hit. So, it's I'm with you. I'm not against you, Sensei, on this one. I'm actually kind of with you, but I think a lot of people will definitely may disagree with you. Brunello has walked away from a mandatory with David for over a year. 3, if you count the WBC lineal title that David won. Yeah, I mean, Sensei, that is true. He hasn't got the money that he wants for that fight, and this is the thing with boxing. And I don't mean to defend Canelo, right? I don't want to defend Canelo right now, but not every fight is created equal, right? So there's a value put that maybe Canelo has with Benavidez simply because A, he may not like the individual. B, he feels like everybody wants to see it. This is when I want to get paid. That's not being met. Listen, not every fight is created equal. That's just the facts. That's the facts. Not every fight is created equal. And if he looks at it like, well, if you want this fight, you got to pay. This is the risk. This guy's heavier. This guy's this and that. This is what I want. It's tough. I mean, listen, Berlanga, not much of a risk. Not much anything. I'll take 35-40 for that fight, which is a lot of money, right? But Benavidez, if I just got $40 million for Munguia, what is a Benavidez worth guaranteed? So I kind of get that aspect of the fight. Now, do I believe Canelo was scared of him? No. Do I believe he's looking for the best opportunity? Absolutely. I think he's looking to cash out with that situation. Now, again, Canelo, and I was watching an Oscar interview where Oscar was like, you got to play nice with Canelo. If he feels offended, he's not going to take the fight. There might be some truth in that situation. If you notice, Jaime Munguia was very respectful. Didn't really cross the line. Didn't do any of those things. Played very nice with Canelo. Made the fight happen. Lost the fight, but got the bag. So Benavidez's approach has been completely opposite. You got to grow some balls. His father's taking shots. He's scared. He's that. Trying to entice him in a way. And maybe Canelo doesn't respond well to that. And the only reason I'm saying that is because of what Oscar De La Hoya had stated before. Sensei, hold on. Actually, let me get the hype man. I skipped hype man. That fight would definitely be more exciting. Pitbull really wants that rematch. Definitely more exciting than Canelo and Edgar. Anything's more exciting than Canelo and Edgar. But I will say this. Canelo's going to end that fight in astonishing fashion. He's going to knock him out. The guy's not good enough. If Canelo doesn't knock out Edgar Berlanga, he's allowing him to go those rounds because everybody knows Berlanga shouldn't get this fight. That's just the honest opinion. He is not a top tier fighter. He is not one of them ones. These are just the facts. I'm sorry. Take it for what you want to take it. I'm with you on that one, hype man. Sensei says, what I'm saying is Bud ain't getting the fight either. Canelo doesn't want a real challenge. Sensei, I don't agree with that. I mean, Caleb Plant was a real challenge. Canelo has clearly the best resume in boxing, to be honest. But coming from 147, I get what he's saying. It's not, I mean, I don't think it's a real challenge. I think Canelo's fought. I mean, you can't say that and then say he has the best resume in boxing because he does. He really does. I think that with Bud doing what he's doing at 154, I think he does get the fight. And I think this is a strong possibility to happen early next year simply because and again, this is if Bud Crawford is successful this weekend. There is no excuse saying, oh, he's a small guy. If he goes and handles this fight at 154 and wins the I think his title's on the line, I'm not sure, wins the title, knocks him out emphatically, it's a 14-pound difference at this point. And it's hard for you to justify saying that you can't fight him because of the weight when you just fought Charlo 2 fights ago who came up from 154. So it's going to be very difficult. That's what I'm saying. So I don't think he's running from Bud at all. I don't see any reason to be running from Bud. Says that if David wasn't being ducked, he would be pound for pound number 1. He would get the undisputed title 168, and the best winner out of Bivol Benavidez. Canelo wants a meal. Sensei, I'm gonna be honest. Did you watch Benavidez' last fight? It wasn't very impressive. I mean, he was solid. He landed, I think, close to 200 punches and never hurt the guy that he's fighting. A lot of people after that fight believe that he's a weight bully. And again, he's walking around damn near 200 pounds. Like, Blanco called him fat boy. He's actually stated that he would be willing to go to heavyweight eventually. This is not a little guy. He's about 6'3". So Canelo understands the risk of taking this fight. That's just one. Now, pound for pound, number one, it's pretty tough when you didn't look too impressive at 168. And to be honest, I don't think he beats the winner of Beterbiev and Bivol. That's just me. After watching his fight, right, and this is 7 pounds later, right, at 175, I can honestly say I don't think he beats those guys. And I think he doesn't get the fight with Canelo if he ends up fighting at 175 against Bivol and Beterbiev. I don't believe he wins those fights and will blow his opportunity to fight Canelo. Chance writes, this will be hella exciting. What will be hella exciting? Canelo, Bud? Yeah, I mean, I think Bud is very respected. A lot of people have had him the number one pound for pound fighter over the world for the last couple of years. Rightfully so. He's a great fighter. And he's pushing himself. And you're fighting a guy at 168. To be honest with you, Canelo is in a higher weight class. He's not that much of a bigger man than Bud Crawford. He just happens to be fighting longer at 168 and is a bigger puncher than Bud. So, I mean, I think it will be a great fight. I think it's a big fight. I think we're going to get that fight. I really do believe we're going to get Bud Crawford fight. I think so. Sensei, he won every round. You just said Shakur isn't the most powerful, but could possibly beat who fans say is the best at 135. Remember, skills pay the bills. Power has to land. David beats both. David doesn't. Listen, guys. Again, Shakur and Gervonta's fight. Gervonta fights a completely different fight. He's not as active. Beterbiev is very active, and so is Bivol, and they're also heavier, and they put pressure on you. It's a completely different fight. I'm saying Shakur is somebody. They're not going to run from Benavidez. They're not, especially if he can't hurt them. Listen, even when he fought Bivol showed a lot of respect to Canelo. You know what I'm saying? Especially in the earlier rounds, because of his power. Canelo's a bigger puncher than Benavidez. He has the one-punch knockout power. Benavidez is not. He's more of a volume-type individual. And if they can't hurt Beterbiev or Bivol, it's gonna be a tough fight for him. I don't believe David Benavidez is gonna beat any of those two guys. I would love to see the fight. I would love to be proven wrong. I like David Benavidez, but this is something that he's gonna deal with. Now, he said he was hurt. Okay, he still landed 200 shots on this guy. I mean, listen, sometimes power does not translate to when you go up. Listen, Teofimo went up to 140. He was knocking cats out of 135. I think he has one knockout. Is it one knockout? No, I don't even know if he has a stoppage at 140 at this point. Just being honest. It's 5 pounds. This is 7 pounds you're asking this guy to do. And you're fighting guys that are coming down from 200 pounds in a Beterbiev, in a Bivol. It's a completely different style. You know what I'm saying? Shakur and Gervonta are 135-pound fighters. Nobody's going up or down in that situation. So it's a little different. Bivol wins it, and David beats Bivol. David is a rarity in boxing. He's not my favorite boxer. I mean, he's a volume puncher. I mean, he's very good, but you're taking away from the fact that Bivol is a legit 175-pound champion, and so is Beterbiev. And he just fought his first fight at 175 and wasn't that great. He just wasn't. Without the weight advantage, he wasn't as great. And there's been rumors that Benavidez is usually 25 pounds heavier than who he fights. Guys, come on. So I do find it interesting that you believe that he's going to walk through, but he didn't walk through his first fight at 175. That's just being honest. And doing that and then going to fight somebody who's, guys, get out, who are champions at 175 and that can pop, that can crack. Whatever he can crack. I think all his fights ended up in knockouts. It's very tough, and he's a dog. He goes forward. I'm just saying, it's not a small task. Guys, go get your stuff and get out, okay? But on that note, I'm gonna let y'all rock. My kids decided to ruin the show. It's your boy Norbs, and we are out.